Hello everyone and welcome back to GodSaw's Turnbuckle, and today we are going to be doing a review for WWE Saturday Night's main event from January 24th, 2026. And this honestly was actually a very good edition of Saturday Night's main event. Probably one of the better ones that they've done since bringing back Saturday Night's main event back in 2025. Honestly, it was just an overall top to bottom fun show. And you could definitely even tell within the crowd reaction itself, because the crowd was pretty much up for every single match on the card, and up for what was going on, what was just going on in the arena the entire time. Maybe a few little points of being down and not necessarily being as loud, but honestly, just an overall fun show. And what we ended up seeing we ended up seeing three really good matches. Two really good matches and an excellent match. And then we also saw what was an excellent brawl to go along with it. It was going to start off with Jacob Fatu going up against Cody Rhodes. Basically, Fatu did his promo beforehand and also follow along entrance out into the arena. But as Cody was making his entrance and about to do his second pose for more fireworks, Jacob Fatu actually attacks him, and the brawl is on. The bell never actually rings, so we don't ever get a match. But what we get in return for not getting a match was just a brawl throughout the arena, and it was very well done. Security guards being taken out left and right. Early on in the brawl, you have Cody Rhodes who accidentally knocks down Charles Robinson, the referee, and then you have Jacob Fatu doing a corkscrew senton out to the outside, which was pretty much on top of the security guards. Though Cody and a few others actually fell over along with it as well. And they continue this fight on into the crowd. Cody hits Fatu with someone's drink, and we've seen that kind of as normal recently, where he just takes a random fan's drink and hits somebody with it while in the crowd. It's kind of a funny little bit there. Cody then eventually does take a backdrop and a body slam out on the floor. Then they start fighting up the stairs and into the concession area. Cody then basically he takes one of the recycling bins or a trash can in the concession area and just starts chucking it at Jacob Fatu and at the security people. To say the least, it wasn't just both of them brawling with each other. It was like both Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes brawling with each other, and then security to go along with it. And it's just a fantastic sight. Jacob Fatu puts one of the security people through a table in the concession area. They fight over to the concession area as well. Cody grabs another drink and hits him with it, and they start fighting back through the crowd down the stairs, and they eventually get to this little staging area that they had. And for one, you have security guards continually trying to get in between them, and then eventually one of them is in between them, and then both of them just chuck him off the thing with they just throw him off and right into all the other security guards. And honestly, the only way this ended out ending was, well, Drew McIntyre coming out and doing as one person what 20 others could not do, which was, one, he threw Jacob Fatu off off of the trunk or whatever staging was there into a table. He low blows Cody and then power bombs him off the other side through another table, ending the brawl. Drew McIntyre stands tall, and again, just an excellent brawl. Just if you're not going to give me a match, give me a good brawl to go along with it. And honestly, that is what they ended up doing here. And I can't say that I was disappointed with what I ended up seeing in the end for that one. So big ups to that, and just a crazy way to start off the show as well with everything. But up next was the first match of the night, which was for the women's tag team titles. It was Rhea Ripley and Io Sky going up against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. And again, what was honestly a really good match, a very good match, honestly. Probably one of the, I would probably say maybe the second best match on the show. We'll talk about what I think the best match on the show was here in a little bit. But it basically started off with Roxanne and Liv having early control against Io Sky. Liv Morgan and Roxanne hit a co-breaker leg sweep combo. Liv even does the three amigos in the ring. But it does eventually lead to Io Sky getting control and does the stomp to Roxanne Perez, and she was able to tag in Rhea eventually as Liv was getting back in as well. And so you had that interaction eventually in there to go along with it. Though Roxanne does get a little bit of control over everything, where she counters a power bomb with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and this eventually led to Liv coming off the second rope into a codebreaker of her own. This was actually only for two, and eventually there's a little bit more brawling going along. Eventually, Rhea does hit the Razor's Edge, and then there's the missile the missile dropkick combo from Io, and again that went pretty much for a two. Roxanne is down again eventually, and not Rhea, but Io was going for her over the moonsault, which was countered by Roxanne and then she was able to hit the pop rocks for a two at that point. Now it does get down to a spot where you have that you end out having Rhea and Io hitting basically what is their combination of hitting both their finishers kind of at the same time. You have Rhea hitting the Riptide and Io hitting the over the moonsault on Roxanne. Now, this is actually a pretty creative spot and actually worked out pretty well to go along with it, because as the ref was counting, Rhea was next to the ropes. Raquel shows up and pulls Rhea down and falls into the referee, breaking up the count. I thought it was a very clever spot. She does eventually, also Raquel, since the ref was down, Io goes after Raquel. She actually eats a powerbomb on the outside of the ring, on the floor. This does prompt Stephanie Vaquer to return. She is out of the walking boot, and she ends up fighting with Raquel, and they fight off to the back. Now, this basically leads to the end of the match, which was Liv hitting the Oblivion on Io, but did not see that the tag was made in for Rhea. So she did not see that, and then Rhea hits the Riptide, getting the 3 count. And again, this was an excellent match. Crowd into it the entire time. Honestly, this felt more like a PLE match than maybe a Saturday night's main event match. And again, I rather enjoyed this one and thought it was very good. A very good match for that, which does bring us into the second to last match of the night. And honestly, the best match of the night. Let's just be clear with it. It was the best match of the night. It is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They did set this up on SmackDown the night before. They are playing it off that, AJ is kind of getting some dream matches in, or at least kind of maybe going for the greatest hits before he faces Gunther with his career on the line. And it is heavily rumored that, that the Royal Rumble is going to be his last match at this point. Now, one thing I did like here, they did go through a lot of their New Japan rivalry to go along with everything, making mention that, they had gone up against each other a bunch of times in tag matches. The factor that AJ was the leader of Bullet Club, Shinsuke was the leader of Chaos, making mention to their Wrestle Kingdom 2016 match, which was for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. They basically do A lot of setup here, and telling what the history was that's not just necessarily WWE side, but outside the WWE to go along with that, with their time in New Japan. I did like those little touches in there. I also like the aspect of, they played off of what they did in their Wrestle Kingdom match, which was AJ, doing the Bullet Club salute, which was fire the bullet, Shinsuke catching it. And in his match at Wrestle Kingdom, what Shinsuke did was eat the bullet. This time he put it on his heart for that one. So they did play off of that as well. And this was basically what you would think this was going to be. It was two guys wanting to show up each other no matter what. And honestly, this was a potential where you could have gone for the finisher spam, and they're hitting their finishers and kicking out of everybody's finishers. And that wasn't necessarily the case. It was pretty much like a full-on excellent match from the both of them. I wouldn't say it was better or on par with a Wrestle Kingdom match back in the day. It was definitely better than the vast majority of their matches that they had back in 2018. Maybe with the exception of one of them. One of those three matches, which I believe was their Money in the Bank match, which was the Last Man Standing match, which that was an excellent match to go along with everything. They might be on par with both of those. But no, this was a area of both of these guys know what they are, know what the other one is going to do, and they're countering everything possible. Obviously, with some aspects of one getting control over the other from time to time, but when it came to the finishers, such as the Styles Clash or the Kinshasa, guess what? It was getting countered, it was getting blocked, and you had a lot of back and forth going in there. You did have a very big portion of time where AJ was going after the leg of Shinsuke Nakamura and eventually getting the calf crusher in, but Shinsuke was refusing to tap out. You had multiple chances as well for Shinsuke to go in for the Kinshasa, but it was blocked after a series of moves, also countering into arm bars out of the calf crusher as well. And also Nakamura countered the phenomenal forearm and basically went into like a DVD, like Michinoku driver style move for a 2 count. But again, at the end of the match, you were getting a series of counters, both of them again just knowing each other as much as possible. Eventually, Styles does hit the Pele kick, but he also was finally able to get on the outside and finally hits the phenomenal forearm and goes into the Styles Clash, and it was for the 3 count. Styles hit the Styles Clash one time, and it was done. Excellent match. When I saw that this match was happening, basically was announced on Friday, I was literally like, inject this into my veins right now. Give them time and inject this into my veins. They did not disappoint. They did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. This was excellent. And if AJ Styles is done after the Royal Rumble, I'm glad that they were able to get this match in and, gave them a lot of time. Basically gave them all the time that they needed to be able to go out there and tell their story. And it did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. So this was definitely the best match on the show, bar none. There is no real question about it. But there was one more match of the night, which I still thought was a really good match as well. And that was the Fatal 4-Way to determine a new #1 contender. That was going to be Randy Orton, going up against Trick Williams, going up against Damian Priest versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, of course, being from Montreal, getting the big hometown pop. Also, Trick Williams just did not look out of place here. And I like that. The fact that he's been up on the main roster not too terribly long and is put in this spot and does not look out of place at any point in time during the match, absolutely fantastic. Randy Orton, he's Randy Orton. You're not, you know what you're getting with Randy Orton, and Damian Priest, who honestly is very good in the ring, but has probably cooled off a bit since his world title run. But honestly, this was just an excellent fatal four way. Well, I won't say excellent because honestly, that means it would be like on the upper echelons, maybe even like close to a match of the year area. It can't really say that, but it was a really good fatal four way between all four of them. Randy Orton does go for the RKO right off the bat on Damian Priest. This does eventually lead to only having Randy Orton and Sami Zayn in the ring. But this is kind of where Trick Williams kind of jumps back in. He does get rid of Randy Orton, hits a jumping neck breaker on Sami Zayn. This is where Damian Priest comes back in, and he will hit a flatliner on Trick Williams. But Sami Zayn was finally able to get back up, and he was going for, looked like a tornado DDT, slipped on the ropes a little bit, but does actually execute the move between the two of them. And honestly, after that, you were getting a lot of person does move. A person who had been gone for a little while comes back in, is going after their next move. This is where Randy Orton comes back in. He starts taking out everyone. He eventually hits the draping DDT on Trick Williams, and then Sami Zayn actually interrupts the next one that he was going for and hits the blue thunder bomb on Orton for a 2 count. Sami Zayn hits a haluva kick on Damian Priest. Trick Williams breaks up that pinfall attempt, by pulling out the referee. And then basically everyone's on the outside, and it was backdrops for everybody by Randy Orton onto the announce table. And so that did eventually it led to a very interesting little bit there. Randy Orton back in the ring counters a haluva kick with an RKO to Sami Zayn. Trick Williams does break up, or not Trick Williams, he doesn't break it up, but what he does is he tries to steal the victory from Randy Orton. He throws Randy Orton out to the outside, but Damian breaks it up for a 2 count, which he does eventually get rid of Trick, at least briefly for that. Damian hits a razor's edge on Sammy and fights with Trick, and then basically what ends up happening towards the end of the match is that you have Damian Priest and Trick Williams fighting on towards the corner of the ring. And basically Trick Williams is on the outside, Damian's on the inside, and Damian basically throws Trick off and taking him out for the rest of the match. But right afterwards gets hit with another haluva kick by Sami Zayn, pick up the 3 count and the victory, and now he's going on to face Damian Priest at the Royal Rumble. Again, this was a really good fatal 4-way match. Honestly, the crowd was into it the entire time as well for this one, and yeah, it felt like it was maybe lacking a little bit more than some of the other matches on the show. But honestly, I can't really complain too much when you're actually getting pretty much everything that's on the show itself being really good to very good to excellent. Everything was just good on this show in general, so I can't complain too much to go along with that. And yeah, that is going to be pretty much everything for Saturday night's main event and my review for this particular show. I am anticipating doing a Royal Rumble predictions episode a little bit later this week, and then barring time or anything getting in the way, I should be doing a Royal Rumble review as well, either next Sunday or Monday, and depending on how time kind of works with everything. And yeah, feel free to leave your comments down below of how you felt about Saturday night's main event as well. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you so wish as well. And with that being said, I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great rest of your day.